This video talks about naturalistic inquiry, the artisanal core of qualitative research. It draws on the tradition of philosophical pragmatism, which looks at societies as webs of interaction and meaning. Based on it, we propose a model of naturalistic inquiry that follows an arc, the arc of naturalistic inquiry, consisting of a series of consecutive hermeneutic steps that correspond to various research activities. Naturalistic inquiry begins down the arc with a loose collection of ideas, often a combination of ideas from scientific literature, but also common sense acquired in the course of your own life. Together, they enter your research as sensitizing concepts, tentative prepositions that suggest looking into particular actors and social situations. Eventually, your preliminary exploration coagulates into a foreshadowed problem that you wish to explore in a field study and that result in formulating testable ideas to guide your further fieldwork. During the fieldwork, you draw on a broad register of data collection techniques, making observations of everyday life, social practices, carrying out qualitative interviews based on asking open or semi-structured questions, collecting and studying available texts, images, and things people produce, exploring networks of kinship, friendship, work, etc. Armed with them, you begin to collect empirical material. Initially, your descriptions of the material are relatively thin and resemble a travelogue, undirected impressions that resemble those made by a passing visitor. But as your material becomes saturated, when gathering more material does not yield additional insights, and when your ideas about diversity and the variety of your sample become stable, you gradually move into an inductive analysis of it. The description becomes thicker, more verstehen, or understanding, the interpretive step in a naturalistic inquiry. You then begin to theorize your verstehen interpretations of a society by distilling and abstracting explanatory ideas about them from your empirical data. Coding is a key practice in this step, identifying small building blocks of data and creating abstract categories from them. This promotes the discovery of new ideas about society that are grounded in your material. Maintaining a firm chain of evidence contributes to the quality of qualitative research. Eventually, you become capable of telling about the society that you study in both indigenous or emic and social scientific or etic terms. You can describe, understand, and explain in a coherent fashion what goes on in a society, and you are able to convey all of this to an outsider in a clearly written text or a thick description that ties everything together and solves the initial problem in a convincing way, the most convincing way given the materials gathered. You have arrived at the end of the arc. We have drawn the arc of naturalistic inquiry as being on one enlargement out of a whole canopy of inquiries. This is to remind us that each separate scientific study is just one of a much larger number of studies, being conducted both simultaneously and consecutively by other researchers. It is a contribution to that canopy. Apart from providing the most convincing explanation of her own problem, the naturalistic researcher must ask herself how her contribution relates to the canopy as a whole.